Community Hangout. This week, we are joined by Mike from Autodrop3d. Autodrop is a sort of like Octoprint for your 3D printer, except it's meant more for maker spaces, print farms, things like that, where you have multiple printers that you want to be able to manage from one single point, allow multiple users, get notifications, all kinds of really awesome stuff. A lot of things you can do with Octoprint, but this is made specifically for this, whereas Octoprint is more meant to run one printer at a time, and that's it. Before we get started tonight, I wanted to point everybody watching the stream and watching the replay of the stream. In the next few weeks, Nick Angers and Travis Womack, Nick from A Buzz Designs and Travis from A Pyro Design, are doing the Extra Life raising money for sick kids through gaming. There are links down in the description below to both Travis and Nick's fundraiser. If you would, please go hit up those links, support their fundraising efforts, and of course, help to raise some money for kids that are sick and need the money. So definitely check out those links below. You don't have to do it right now, but sometime today, sometime this weekend, go and if you can kick a couple of dollars their way towards their fundraiser, please do so. F3DPCH wants to get as many eyes on their fundraiser as possible. So tonight, like I said, we're going to talk to Mike. And as you have questions, we're going to go ahead and ask the questions as they come in. Mike may go ahead and answer the question right away, or he may say, hey, I'm going to answer that here in a couple minutes with something I'm going to do. So a little bit different format this time. Instead of holding all the questions to the end, we're going to actually roll through the questions as they come in. So be sure to tag at Shenanigans in the chat, or at Friday 3D Printing Community Hangout. And again, we are live streaming this time on YouTube and Facebook, so you can watch us either place, and we can see the chat from both places. Although I know from Facebook is a little bit delayed in what we see on the chat. So just bear with us there. YouTube, Facebook, I have no control over the delay. So with that said, I'd like to introduce my co-host, Sean. Sean, the floor is yours.
What's up, Floor? How are you? Hope you're having a great Friday night. As always, tonight is so cool because everybody is done with work and we are all chilling. Mike's going to talk tonight and do some great things, and I'm excited to see what he has to say and share with us about his product. So, yeah, if you have any questions, tag me or tag the Maddie, and we will be sure to ask those questions to Mike. Yeah. Peace, love, and talk. Let's do this.
Where can everybody find you, Sean?
You can come to Ohio. I'm just kidding. So you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and YouTube at ArtMods, or ArtMods Official. I'm sorry, not Facebook. I don't think I'm on Facebook anymore. But yeah, you can find me at ArtMods Official or ArtMods _ on Twitter, or you can find me on YouTube as Sean Nanigans. That's about it.
Okay. Thanks, Sean. All right. And that, of course, takes us over to Mike. Mike, go ahead and tell us about yourself. Tell us about Autodrop. And I believe you're going to show us some live demonstration tonight as well.
Yeah. So my name is Mike Molinari. I'm out of Connecticut. I'm going to be showing off Autodrop3d. We have a Twitter account at Autodrop3d. Our website is Autodrop3d.com. And you can also contact me personally at MMisCool. So I'm going to get kind of into this. Basically, Autodrop is a platform designed for running printers in either a shared environment or running them for a print farm. It allows you to have multiple users that can manage the printers, people who can just request prints. It's got moderation built in. It has all sorts of different kinds of features. So we'll get right into that, and I'm going to actually start sharing my screen here in a second.
Yeah, as soon as that pops up, I'll add it in, Mike. Let me know, Mike, if you want me to switch back from the screen share to your camera and vice versa.
Okay, yep, no problem.
All right, your screen share is up. Go ahead.
Here we are. Okay, so Autodrop3d, we do a couple of different things. We have 3D printers that have fully automatic part ejection capability, like you can see here, where the print is automatically removed at the end of each print job. So we actually sell those printers. We have the cloud services, which can manage a bunch of different printers, and that is compatible with pretty much any machine that you could find that takes Cura G-code. I'm going to actually hop on to the web platform. So this right here is the platform itself. When you're a user, it by default brings you into a screen which shows you your parts. And basically, these are parts that I've uploaded into the system or designed inside the system in order to go and print them. If I go and I actually create a new part, so I'm just going to hit new part up here. I'm going to say demo for the name, and it brings me into a blank part. There's a couple of things here. We have the part properties, which allows us to reorient the model by rotating an X, Y, or Z. We have a scale functionality here, which allows you to increase or decrease the size of the model, although most of the time you probably want to leave that at 1 and actually design it to be the right size. We have the infill, which you're allowed to specify what you want for your infill. You have the toggle for support material being on or off. And that's basically what you have here on the part properties screen. This is just like the settings for that model for when you actually send it into the queue. Now, I could just go and upload an STL file directly in here, or I could have done that from the part screen. I could have just uploaded an STL file. But today I'm going to show off actually designing a file in our system. Now, we have a web-based CAD application that's built right in. So I can start off here by creating a plane and then selecting that plane and sketching on it. And in this particular case, I'm going to draw a rectangle. And then I can go and I can actually set some parameters on it. So I can set the distance here to maybe 20. I could set this one to, let's just say, 80. You know what? I really don't like how far those are apart, so I can just go in there and update that maybe to 50. Okay, that looks like a better thing there. I'm just going to go and lock one of these corners down. So now that thing is locked in place. The only way I can move it around is in ways that it's allowed to by the constraints. So this is a real, actual parametric 3D modeler. As soon as I'm done with that sketch, so if I'm satisfied with my sketch the way it is, I can hit this little check mark, and it brings me back out into the 3D environment where I can actually go and do something with it. So for example, I can do an extrude, and let's just say I want to extrude that 10 millimeters. I just enter in the distance there. If I wanted to flip the direction that it was going, I can just use this little toggle right here. And I can go ahead and hit OK. So now I got a thing. And it's an okay thing, but I want to go and add some more stuff to it. So I want to go and add something in here that's going to be like a cylinder that's coming out from the top. And I want it to come out in kind of a weird direction. So I'm going to do two things here. I'm going to sketch on this side. I'm just going to put a line in there. And I'm going to use that for my sketch for the direction of the extrude. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to this other face, and I'm going to sketch something. And I'm just going to go and draw a circle here. And I could do something like tell it to be centered. So now it's centered in here. And I can do something like give it a distance from the edge there. So I'm going to call this 15. There we are. So now I have a circle on that surface. And if I want to do something like extrude, I can do that. You'll notice how it comes straight out this time. If I go and I change that, I could go and change my vector by selecting this little guy. So now it's going to extrude in that direction. And if I change this to, let's just say 20, so now I have my model. And it's got kind of this weird thing. Now, I don't really like that angle because it looks like I'm going to need support material there. So what I can do is I can just go and update this sketch here. And open this feature back up and just hit OK. And there we are. We are updated. I'm going to just show off one other little feature in here real quick. I'm going to use the fillet command. I'm going to set this to a kind of a small radius here. And I'm going to pick some of these edges. So I'm going to pick these corners here. There we are. And hit OK. You'll notice how now I have rounded edges on the thing. If I go back in here, I can change this back up to like 5 or something, and I can just go back in and edit all the parameters on my model, similar to, you know, SolidWorks or Inventor or any other kind of parametric modeler. If I save this and give it a second to save, there we are. And I come back over here to my part details, we can now see a preview image. This is the orientation it's going to print in. So if, for example, I wanted to rotate it, I could go and rotate it in one of the different directions. It tells me approximately how long it's going to take. This is a generic estimate. It obviously would be specific to a printer. It would be a little bit different based on your slicer settings, but that is what we have right now. We have the material quantity, so this is an estimation based on the a generic profile for slicing it, so it'll get you pretty close. And it tells you the size of the model, so this is something that allows it to be directed to a printer based on the size.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
The build time and the material quantity, what units are those going off of? Are they like the time, is that seconds?
Yeah, so the time is in seconds and the material quantity is in millimeters of filament.
Millimeters of filament. Okay.
Yeah, we could go and do some changes there to make it so that was kind of more of a mass kind of a thing. But material is so kind of drastically different these days that
right.
You can get all sorts of different variations there. So it's an estimate.
Right. If you're not using if you're using like a composite or something like, say, Protoplastis copper composite that's got some weight to it, or brass, the grams, unless you're going and tuning for every type of filament, won't be exact. Millimeters pretty much will be a closer estimate for sure. I was just curious what the units were.
Yeah, and that number is used for the billing. So this is done with a generic profile. So your billing can be set up off of the generic profile, and whatever it goes to on the machine, it slices with whatever those settings are that it needs. So at this point, I can come over here, and there is a G-code preview. So this is just a way that a user can check to make sure that what they've designed is printable. And if we give it a second to render out, here's an example of what would print. Again, this is generic G-code. It is not specific to the printer at this point. but that just allows you to see what's going to print. You also got this viewer tab here. This is really only used for when you have a model that you uploaded typically. Because our models aren't uploaded, you know, they're done in the editor. Typically, you would go and look at them in the editor, but if you uploaded something from the outside, you can view it here. And basically, at this point, I can go to create order, and I can send it to a location. So if I hit create order here, I have a location selected. It's going to probably start up one of these printers behind me. So we could switch over to my camera. Oh, which one's going? Yep, this one. Yeah, if you could switch back over to my camera here. So this printer behind me right here, you can see that the build plate kind of popped itself out. And what that does is it allows the object, if there was one on the bed, to be cleared. And we got this little wall behind it. And now it's retracting the build plate back into the print area, where it'll be able to print the next object and complete it. When it's complete, it'll just slide that build plate back forward, sliding the object into kind of this little landing area where they all kind of just pile up. So we can see down here, that's the landing area on that particular printer. We got this one where I got a bunch of benchies all lined up.
Now, what kind of issues have you faced with the part ejection?
So the part ejection was a very long road. We started doing the part ejection. You could look up some of the very early videos. I might still have some of them up on YouTube there. But basically, we were printing out onto a piece of inkjet paper that we had clamped down or clamped using a trapdoor. And it would print out a piece of inkjet paper onto a trapdoor. And then it would clamp it and then print on top of the piece of paper, which coincidentally had all your username and all that kind of stuff on it, and your phone number and stuff. And then it would drop the piece of paper out the bottom of the machine. That's kind of how we got started there. Unfortunately, it doesn't work unless you have really, really short models that aren't going to wobble, because when you print on that kind of a medium, you get curling, like the paper itself warps because the plastic cools.
Right.
So we did a lot of thinking. We went through a couple different iterations of using this bed that gets the item scraped off by the blade. And this is what we landed on as far as the most compact version of that we can make. We have another version of it, which is more for assembly line kind of use, which it actually drops the part out the bottom of the printer, and you could have a bin underneath, or you could actually drop it out onto a belt or something to deposit it in a box.
Now, what printer is that based on? Because like your part ejection that you have now is based on the MP Mini Delta.
Well, yeah. So we have these little guys, which are the MP Mini Delta variant. We also have a nicer machine over here. Excuse the mess. I got some all sorts of different kinds of stuff here. And I'm trying to take a selfie with a laptop. So, so this thing right here is a Rostock V4, and we have that same type of part ejection system built onto it. Both of those systems, they work pretty well. We rarely get prints that come back onto the build surface after they're ejected. So the thing is like you can run it, and you can run it continuously. And because you can run it continuously, even if you do run into a failure, most of the time it self-corrects before the next print, and you'll find one thing that got screwed up, and you'll have like 30 or 40 other things that are perfectly fine, and you could find which one that was because you get a notification and a picture of every print when it's done. So you could just go and say, reprint that one item, and it's good to go.
So, Mike, RC Maniac wants to know, does the editor support parametric designs?
So that is the point of having a sketch and constraint and that kind of editor, that you can go back in and you could change the attributes of the features and the model will update. And that software is improving. It's constantly being developed right now. So that functionality is going to get more fleshed out than just what you saw in the preview there. Obviously, we need to add more stuff like the hole command that has a listing of all the different types of holes for the different threads and things like that. And these are just, little details that need to get added at this point.
John Simone, I guess. Sounds like maybe you guys might know each other.
Yeah. Is he trolling?
When I asked about the issues that you faced and as far as like the prototypes and stuff, what led you to where you are now with it, he asked, aren't you forgetting about the zip tie prototype?
Oh, yes. Yeah. So I don't know how difficult it would be for me to play a video from YouTube on here, but there is a video on YouTube which shows a really, really, really botched together Tronxy X1 printer with a bunch of hard drive magnets and this weird string, and it was a Rube Goldberg machine. I had an inkjet printer that would print out a piece of paper. It had like this hinged clamp that would get lifted up by driving the Z-axis all the way up to the top, which would yank a string and pull it up. It was a mess. But that was the
way to start out.
Yeah, you know what? We got 3 prints successfully off of that machine in a row, and that was what was able to get me to convince the other guys to hop on the project and start working on it.
Very cool.
Oh, I can't believe he's trolling.
Heather, Dee Heather, asked a throwback question. Was Mike next to Jason Bruce at Murph 2018?
Murph?
Jason is the one who does like the grandfather clock, 3D printed grandfather clock, and baskets and all kinds of neat patterns and stuff. Pattern to print is his handle.
When I went to Murph, I kind of crashed the party because I didn't know about it really ahead of time. I was talking to the guy from See Me CNC, and he was like, "Oh yeah, just come out, just show up." So I drove 15 hours. I got my father to take the ride there. That way we could trade off driving and whatnot. But it was. That was a fun thing. I had a cell phone taped to the window on the outside, like on the edge of the building, in order for me to get a Wi-Fi hotspot to run the printer. And it was kind of tough because we were out in the middle of nowhere.
Nice. One more question from the chat, just to kind of keep up with where they're at right now. This one's from RC Maniac 25 as well. He said, so then you can import from this is okay. Follow up to his other question about parametric design. He asked if you can import from OpenSCAD models or similar, and for a configurator type system for a community printer could be cool. Okay.
That is something that I would be willing to look into. We actually use OpenSCAD on the back end for doing thumbnail generation. So OpenSCAD, for those who don't know what that is, it allows you to basically write a program which designs your part. Now, I do understand that OpenSCAD is technically parametric. in that you can parameterize and run a program that creates your part. But it is not parametric in the way that you edit it, in that you have to completely run the program again from the start in order to generate your part, rather than something that's more in line with the rest of the parametric 3D modelers that are out there.
Like Fusion, and I'm familiar with Fusion 360. So in Fusion 360, you have a parameters window basically that you give your different measurements a variable name, just like you would in OpenSCAD. But as soon as you change it, that dimension changes, and any links that you have related to it also then change.
Yeah, so right now we do have something similar to that in the CAD program, but it still requires a manual update of all the features. But that is coming, where it basically will automatically reassess the model and update based on parameters at the global part level.
Cool. So when you're doing your modeling within Autodrop, what is that running on? Is that all custom written code, or is that based on another project or product?
Yeah, so one of the members of the team, Valentine, he was writing that software. I found him online and approached him, and he's now part of the team here. And we've been implementing the CAD software for probably the past 2-3 years in the Autodrop platform. So we've been doing a lot of testing on it. And getting it to kind of the point where it's at now, which is very usable, but it still has some edges that need to be polished. I will say that like all the stuff that's we're 3D printing for the Autodrop system, we've designed in that software. So the enclosures and the clips that clip onto the sides of the machine, and a lot of the other kind of stuff there, that's all been designed in that system. So we eat our own dog food.
No, cool. That's actually very neat. Um, yeah, RC Maniac just said that he was asking about parametric, that the parametric window was why he was asking about the values, as he didn't see an icon with the list of parameters. I guess in the demonstration he didn't see, which I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, if you want to switch back over to the screen here, I'm going to go back into my part. So right now it's split up between two different areas. This will be being unified here pretty soon, but you do have an expressions area. I don't have any expressions defined right now, but if I were to define some, I could use those expressions in the various different features. Also, within a sketch, like if I go back here, step back in time a little bit. So also within a sketch, you have the constraints and whatnot that you can manage, and those values. If I go in here, I can expose a little bit more. But you can go and define expressions and things in here also within the sketch. Now, this is going to be being unified with the global part level stuff. So that is something that's on the radar and will be more fully integrated here soon. Now, right now, because I have that thing printing, if I go into the queue, actually, so I can actually see that it's at a particular status, and if I click on it, I can see a picture of the print bed, which is completely obscured by the print head, but basically you have some information here about the part and how far along it is and which device it's on.
Okay. And now, as far as notifications, I know if you're on the web interface, you can get notifications or check your status. What do you do for, let's say, somebody starts a print at a makerspace, goes out to get lunch, and comes back or is coming back to check on it. Is there a way for them to, without logging in, just get like automatic progress notification pictures and things like that to make sure maybe they don't have a print failure?
So there's no automatic progress indication at this point in time. You do get a notification when the print is complete, and you'll actually get a ding inside the web browser. Like it sounds like a microwave going ding. But besides that, you also get an email notification at the end of each print, or at the end of each job being completed. So, yeah, as far as all that stuff goes, there is no like real time stream that you could watch. I mean, you can go and click on the part and see where it's at, and you can see how it moves along. And this image is updated about every 30 seconds, but it's not like a live stream where you got a joystick and you can control it across the internet.
Okay. Now, if somebody wanted to run this on their printers at home, what's the hardware requirements in order to run Autodrop? To get the part ejection, at this point, you've got to have either your own custom G code to drive a part off the bed with the print head, or buy a printer from you. But if somebody just wanted to run, like say I've got my 6 printers that are on the other side of the wall here, what would I have to do to get started using Autodrop?
Yeah, so on GitHub, I do have to do an update to the image that's on GitHub because there's a poll that needs to happen. But if we switch back over to my stream here, basically we have a Raspberry Pi that is needed to do the machine control. The client software, which you just basically burn onto an SD card. It's got just your standard kind of a Linux environment, Debian, Raspbian, and you need a webcam. So you should find one that is compatible with Linux. Most of the ones that we've tried are just the cheap Amazon kind of webcams for $5-10. Those all seem to generally work. And there's a couple other things you need. You need a few push buttons, which allow you to put the Raspberry Pi into a Wi-Fi configuration mode, which basically the Pi broadcasts out an access point. You can hop onto that and do all your kind of configuration, like getting it connected to the network. And actually, I can show some of that here.
So the setup that you have, if you take and burn, you have a pre-prepared image that somebody can write to the SD card. They don't have to put Raspbian on, then load the software. They can just burn the image right to the SD card, just like Octopi.
Yeah, very, very similar, I guess. And right now, the image is a little bit behind. I have to go and do an update on that, but I should have that updated this weekend. So
once you do burn the image to the SD card, throw it in the Pi, and connect it to your printer, and you have your push buttons. At that point, because of the push buttons, everything's headless, right? You don't need a monitor hooked up to the Pi.
Absolutely, yeah. You can run this thing entirely headless. All you need is those push buttons, because one of them's for the Wi-Fi configuration mode. You have a cancel button.
Okay.
You have two buttons which you're going to use for filament. So basically, there's if you hold down the button, it'll unload the filament that's in it. It'll pull it all the way out the Bowden tube.
Okay.
If you just press it once, it'll go and it'll feed new filament in, and it'll prime the nozzle. There's also, if you were to hook it up with with filament sensors going directly to the Raspberry Pi, it has a nice a sequence where basically when it runs out of filament, it backs the filament out of the tube, it pulls the head up and puts it into a position where you could prime the nozzle and then resume the print. So you get print resume with our client too.
Okay. Um, crap, I just had another question. And I forgot what it was. It completely blanked. RC Maniac did say in the chat with notifications, he said it's a recommendation, not so much a question. Maybe avoiding pop-up notifications because some browsers like Firefox will start to warn there are too many and can and will start to block them. Apparently.
Yeah. We don't necessarily do pop-up notifications. Like we don't do the notifications down here in the bottom corner of the screen right now. We do notifications in this widget. So basically, you can click on that and you can see the different notifications that are coming through. I can also go and see all of my old notifications. So, I got all sorts of different kinds of stuff in here. Up, and I don't know whether you heard the ding there, but I had a ding.
Yeah, it didn't come through.
Okay. So as far as actually getting your printer configured onto the Autodrop system once the client software is installed, I'm going to show you some of the printers that we have online. So this one is actually one of the ones we have online. If I click on it, it brings me into a page that allows me to define my start and my end G code. It shows me the local IP address of the device on the local network. So if I click on that and I'm within the local network, it brings me into the actual printer configuration itself. So this is this right here is actually the software that's running on the Raspberry Pi.
Okay.
You could do some stuff like your 0-point offset. So if you're not running a Delta, you're going to have to put in an offset for X and Y to put it in the middle of your build plate.
Okay.
You also have a 0-point offset for Z, so you can actually position that at a different point if you got like a crazy auto ejector system and you don't want to actually modify printer firmware.
Very cool.
And we have right here, this is where you can configure your Wi-Fi credentials. So basically you would put in your access point name, your password, and as soon as you hit save and you hit the button on the device, it'll switch out of access point mode and try to connect to that network. Up here, this is where it shows you your serial port that you're using. So basically it shows you a listing of the different serial devices and allows you to pick the one that's for your printer. It allows you to define your baud speed. Over here, you have manual control over the device. So this is good for when you're trying to level it out and trying to figure out what your Z offset has to be. But it'll basically allow you to do some leveling kind of functions. It'll allow you to home. You can also just send G code. So let me just check. I just want to make sure this printer isn't doing anything at all. Okay. So if I do something like send it a G28 or a go to 000, I can actually move the head around, and you can see there I just moved the head down into the middle.
Okay.
And I'll just send that and then refresh and move it around. But yeah, that's basically so that you can do some diagnostic kind of stuff. You get the response from the machine here. If I go back over here, obviously I got the name of the printer. You have an API key, which basically this ID number and the API key need to be added to the printer. This is how it identifies itself to the Autodrop server.
Okay.
And securely allows it to communicate. And let me see here. So we have our CAM profile. The CAM profile allows you to define your slicer settings. So if I come over here to my CAM profiles, this is my list of CAM profiles. And if I go on here, I can see all of my Cura settings. and I could just go and define them all in here.
Okay, so Cura is your slicing engine that you're using.
We're reusing Cura 15.04 right now. We do plan on upgrading that to the latest and greatest here soon. We just have some modifications that were made to that particular version of it, which allowed us to have a unique raft, which makes it easier for us to remove the prints at the end of the job, which we'll touch on that later.
Okay.
But as far as your device goes, you need to, before you actually even create a device in the system, you need to create a cam profile and a location. So basically, that's what populates these two drop downs here. You have basically your location, which if I go in here, you can fill in some information for your location, like your address and your profile text for that, which is basically, hey, we're a cool maker space, or we're a small business that does 3D printing services, or whatever it is. You define your name. You can upload an image to represent that business. And then you can tell it whether or not you want people to be able to order publicly. So if you wanted to make your printers available to other people on the internet and make it so they could print out something and get their credit card charged, you would enable that public ordering. And you can also do some stuff here as far as moderation. So you can moderate ordering from internal users. You can moderate ordering from external users. You got all sorts of different kind of options there.
With the whole ordering thing, do you have a way to accept payments through Autodrop, or is that just on the responsibility of the makerspace or print farm?
So that's one of the things where Autodrop really is nice. We provide the credit card processing, so it all happens on the server side. It accepts the credit card, it bills it, and it requests that the device go and print it out.
Cool.
So if you had a bunch of printers and you're trying to run a small 3D printing company, you could easily go and make that capacity available, and manage your queuing, and it just makes everything really smooth sailing there.
Yeah, it's nice that a user won't be able to start a print until payment has been authorized or accepted, I should say.
Yeah, in fact, if I had payments turned on this organization and I tried to print something, it would go and it checks the credit card before it prints anything. And it does the billing right as soon as the thing starts printing. So if it doesn't print, it doesn't get charged.
Gotcha. John asked kind of along the same lines of this. He does the system support ordering, say 10 of a part easily.
Yeah.
It does? Okay.
So if we go over here to parts, there's a couple ways of doing this, right? You could just go and order the part a bunch of times. Or if I create a new part, I could call this assembly. I'm going to go and change the part property here to assembly and hit save there. Now what that does is that shows me this BOM tab. And that BOM tab allows me to add whatever parts I want to an assembly. So I can add that guy. Let's just say I want some of these benchies. And let's just say I want like 15 of them. I can arbitrarily add a bunch of different parts to this assembly. And I can also add assemblies to assemblies. So if I go in here, I have this assembly here, which has all these children underneath it.
Oh, neat.
So you could do nested assemblies and rather large batches here. So now if I were to go and create my order, it would get all of that stuff. The other nice thing about that is you can organize your models, right? So let's just say you were designing some kind of a model car, and you wanted to take the two wheels, an axle, and maybe some other parts, whatever it is, and put them into a wheels assembly. You could then take that wheels assembly and put it into a car assembly, which has like the doors and the hood and the body and all that kind of fun stuff. So you could really go and like layer and actually organize your model.
What what kind of provisions are in place to prevent somebody from trying to send something too big for the printer?
Okay. So
as you were talking about the assemblies, it started making me think, you might have small parts, you might have big parts. Some printers may be better for the small stuff, some may be better for the big stuff. And if things are freed up, somebody can send their assemblies and it would spread it across the printers is kind of what I'm envisioning. But it would have to
yeah.
have what build sizes you have.
Yeah, so if I go back over to my organization and go to the devices, basically these are, you can see all the printers that are online. But if I go into the printer, I have size limits, which are set on the machine. So basically, if there's something that's too big for this particular machine, it won't print on that machine. You also define your material. The way that it's defined now, it's just an arbitrary string. In the future, it's going to be a little bit more sophisticated than that, in that you'll have a material library that you can manage. But the idea is that it gets routed to a machine based on the size and the material that you've selected. So if I go back out here, I could see like the Rostock V4, I have a much larger build area on that.
Right.
And then when I go over to the queue, that's one of the attributes that's used. So it checks for the material, right? So in this particular case, I had any selected, so it just went to whatever available printer. But if I had defined a specific material, it would have routed to the printer based on that material and the size, whether it would fit within the confines of the machine.
Cool. Now, does the user have any control over which printer? Like, other than, okay, this printer's loaded with ABS and this one's PLA. But let's say you have a Prusa, you have the MP Mini, and somebody just prefers to print, let's say, on the Prusa or the MP Mini. Can they define which printer they want? Like, even if that's got a waiting queue, that they can put their part in the queue for when it's ready to print?
So that is not something that is available right now. The reason for that is because it's based on the routing settings of the organization, which right now it routes based on the material and size.
Okay.
If for some reason you wanted to specifically make it go to a particular machine, you could define a material which says Prusa PLA blue.
Okay.
And it would go to only that machine or whatever machines had that defined as their material. But routing to a specific machine is something we've avoided because you have locations. So you really route it to a location and you let it figure out where it needs to go from there.
Right. I was just thinking if somebody has, like, let's say you've got a range of printers in a space and one of them is, good at printing fast. One of them's really good at doing detail, like just the different tunings of the printer. If somebody knows a specific quality that they want to get out of a printer, that was the reason why I was thinking that. But at the same time, I can understand why you would want to just completely avoid the user having control over that part.
Yeah, if you have printers that are halfway decent that are going to be running and churning out parts consistently, because that's the biggest problem, right? When you're running it for a multi-user environment, you run into people who think that they're hot shots and can tune the machines and do all sorts of different kinds of things, and that's how you end up with a batch of printers that don't work.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
this is supposed to prevent the end users from interfering with the printer altogether.
yeah, so yeah, nobody actually ever really touches the machines when we have them in auto ejecting mode, um, and that just saves us so much time because there's the machines are never broken.
Right.
Um, if for some reason you did want to have that kind of settings available to the user, um, right now I would use the materials as the way of defining that. However, there will be some quality attributes which will be coming,
Okay.
but
That
that's on the drawing board and how that's going to be implemented.
yeah,
But there,
that alone may solve that question, because that was kind of what I'm thinking. Like, I have certain printers that if I want high detail, really good quality, those are the printers I send it to. And then I have other printers that, like functional prints, I don't necessarily care what the quality of the print looks like. If there's a little bit of wobble in it because I didn't have that printer tuned, big deal. That's kind of where I was thinking about that. But if you had, like, I want high detail, low detail as a quality setting, that would pretty much solve that.
yeah, that is definitely coming because right now we're in the process of implementing um, multiple slicing profiles on each printer. So basically, you could define some different quality profiles or omit one, right? Like if you have like a low and a medium quality profile on a machine and somebody picked high, it wouldn't go to that machine that only has the low and the medium quality allowed.
Right. Okay. Did you want to show us more with the interface with Autodrop? I know when we did the
Yeah,
show, there was a lot more
I can
to the interface.
definitely get into this a little bit more.
Go for it.
So So basically, right, you have your queue, which will show you all of the parts that you personally have submitted and had stuff happen with. It shows the progress, which machine it was on, all that kind of stuff. Um, you can also select any queues that you have permissions for under your org. So right now, I am in my own personal org, but if I were to go into, you know what, I'm going to stay in my personal org, but like if I were to go into the Spark Maker space or one of these other orgs, I could see their queues.
Okay.
Um, but if I go here and I look at the one that's for the print farm here locally, I can see prints that were printed by not just me. So if I skip back here, let's see. I want to skip until I find somebody who's not me who's been printing.
Now, is this an admin thing that you're able to see everyone's, or can any user see what everybody else has printed?
Yeah, so it's only admins that can see the. Oh, there we are. Okay.
One. There you go.
So, you can see other people's prints. Now, what's interesting about this, right? If I click on his model, I am not authorized to view it.
Ah, okay. Now, is that a level?
That is permissions. So that model is owned by an organization that I don't have access to.
Okay.
So there's no way for me to go in and poke at it because of the permission levels. So it is designed to basically protect what people have uploaded into the system. Nobody can just arbitrarily go and grab stuff out.
Okay.
Um,
now, so let's say something like a school wanted to run this, and they have to be accountable for what the students are printing. Is there some sort of, say, super user permission that, regardless of what's printed, what the permissions are, a certain user or group of users can see everything? Or is that locked out because of protecting IP, more or less?
So right now that is locked out. Besides seeing the thumbnail, obviously you can see the thumbnail and you can see the you can get to the sliced G code for something.
Okay.
Now to address that, part of it is like on a location, you can enable moderation.
Okay.
So if I go and I save that, I don't know whether it's going to apply to me because I'm an admin, but I'm going to go and check here. Hold on. So see how it comes in with a pending status?
Yep.
So anybody's job who is in a moderated queue would come in with a pending status, and an admin would have to look at it and approve it. Of course, now if I were to go to the queue here and I had a bunch of things that were pending, I could just go and pick those things and then go and do a bulk update and tell them that they're approved.
Okay. All right. So that would be your administering what can and can't be printed.
Mm-hmm.
Be done before it's even printed. Okay.
Yeah, so you can catch all the people who are trying to print out phallic shaped objects.
You know exactly where my mind was going with that.
Well, here, let me tell you a story, right? So when we first started doing this, when we finally got to a point where we could print out relatively large objects from the printers with the auto ejection system, I put the queue online, and there was no usernames, there was nothing like that. It was just upload your model and it would print out. And the very first thing that happened is I ended up with a giant pile of dicks. You think I'm joking? No, I ended up with
I believe you.
I don't believe that.
It was like at the maximum extent of like how tall you could print something on that particular printer. And I had a very large quantity of these things just sitting in a box.
Sorry about that, Mike. I didn't mean to offend you with sending those to you.
Oh, that was you.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, no, you can run into trouble rather quickly just by not having a username.
Oh, I bet. Robbie Mack asked a little bit ago. So you have parameters for which printers print the object based on material type and build size. What about nozzle size?
So that is not currently accounted for. However, when we implement the quality attribute, which is going to be some point here soon, that will be that'll be a way that you could route based on that.
Yeah, I'm just. I know RC Maniac said he was thinking about it, and I actually do it. A couple of my CR10s have different size nozzles on, and I know which one to send the object to, which Octoprint instance to send it to
Mhm.
get a certain nozzle size. But yeah, for a makerspace, say you do have a printer that's supposed to be a speed printer, so you have a 0.8 nozzle on it. Obviously, that would be a parameter that you want to choose, because if you're slicing it for 0.4 and print 0.8, it's not going to turn out very well.
Yeah, so right now you can define that with the material field. You could just do something like PLA low fast or something,
Gotcha.
and you could route it based on that. But at some point here, we are going to be implementing a quality attribute, which can be used by the queue.
All right. And Terry did ask about material management. Terry, the printers, you specify what filament you have loaded, what type of material, and then when the person slices it, they select what type of material or any material, and based on that, it'll choose which printer it's going to go to.
Yeah, so and the other thing is that it slices it using a generic profile on the server prior to the print. But once it actually gets assigned to a printer, it gets sliced with that printer's selected slicing profile. It doesn't just, it's not like a one size fits all. So if you got a bunch of different types of printers, you can use them all on the same system. You just have to put in the settings for each one.
John said it sucks that I need more than one Octoprint instance to manage my printers. We were talking, Mike and I were talking about that before the stream. Did you keep showing the interface a little bit more?
Yeah, let's see whether there's anything else that I'm missing here. So yeah, of course you got your orders, which basically you can see what your orders were. And I'm going to try to find one here that's an assembly. Oh, so here's one for an assembly. And basically, it has all of your parts in that order. It tells you where you sent it. And there's some other kinds of stuff here as far as the bulk updating and whatnot. If I go back over into my organization, I got user management. So basically, I actually have you set up right now so that you can you probably don't want people seeing your email.
That don't matter. It's not that hard to figure out.
Okay. So basically, you have these different, you can add users, you can give them a role, which gives them different permissions based on it. You can see pending users. So if you have a location that's public, somebody could go and request to join your organization, so you can see those requests and approve them.
Okay.
Let's see. You got a little bit of a profile here for your organization if you wanted to find that. That's going to be more useful down the road when you're allowed to actually start selling your models through the system.
Oh, that'll be a neat feature.
Yeah, so you know how we have assemblies in the system today?
Right.
Imagine that you could go and consume a model that somebody else designed, and that person could go and say, I want $1 every time this thing gets printed. Yeah. When that thing actually goes to be manufactured, they're going to get paid, and the person who's running the printer will get paid.
Very cool.
So that is coming soon.
So let's go back to the assemblies a little bit. Is it possible to do assemblies? So like for me, I do all my modeling in Fusion. And like the on Autodrop modeling may not be as appealing to me.
Yeah, so you can do this with imported parts. Okay. So like this benchy right here, that was an imported part. And if I go over here to the bomb, I can add that benchy. And now I got benchies. Or yeah, it looks like I already had benchies in there.
Yeah. Now if I had multiple files from an assembly that I'm making in Fusion, can I bring those in and combine them into an assembly in Autodrop then? Or does that have to be done in its modeling software?
So basically, if you got STL files, you can drag and drop them in here or upload them just by hitting choose file and then finding your STLs.
Okay.
Once they're uploaded into the system, you could define an assembly and just pick all those models and tell it what quantities you want of them, and it'll make those assemblies for you.
So
you could also, yep.
Oh, sorry. Continue. I'm on a different path. Continue.
What I was also going to say here is that you can you can add some attribute details to the parts. So like if you wanted to define like a reference designator or like a number or something, you could assign that. And you could also put in some notes against each model. Like if you were looking to use this as a little bit more of a sophisticated data management tool for like designing your build process and whatnot.
Okay. What were you getting at, Sean?
So, all right. So say I have a fabrication shop a general fabrication shop.
General fabrication.
So I remember previously you said this works with CNC and all that kind of stuff, or you're working towards that.
Yes.
So say my customer is wanting to send me the files. Is there a database within your program where they can upload the files so they don't have to email it or snail mail it or whatever? They can just upload it straight to the program, and I can take that from the program.
Yeah, so right now you would just upload a new part and then you would request that it get manufactured. The queue has access to those parts. We don't have an STL file download at the moment, but for machines that you have it manually defined for, there will be a fetch STL file button here.
Okay. So,
and
so
there,
my
there's
customer would be able to upload instead of sending it to me and then me uploading it. They can directly upload it to that program, no matter if it's a 3D printer or a lathe or a CNC or.
Yeah, and the other thing is that if we can get all the software in line for it, because we have some stuff on the back end that's already been developed for doing things as far as laser cutters and whatnot. We've done some work on the back end to support that, but we're looking to go and support the CNC routers and other kinds of CNC tools and get it so that similar to the way that slicing is done, completely on the server side in an automated way, having similar things happen with CNC type products.
Okay, interesting. Cool. Thanks, Mike.
What file formats does Autodrop support? And obviously STL, OBJ, 3MF, anything along those lines. I know Prusa just released a video today, I believe it was, about trying to encourage people to move to 3MF instead of STL.
Yeah, so right now we pretty much exclusively use STLs. However, because of the way that the backend is written, we could potentially go and import from other standard type file formats like that. I do know that that format you just mentioned that Prusa is now pushing could do that. We could go and do that. Use that particular type of file, and that would just be a few lines of code. The thing is, though, as far as using that new type of file format, I don't think it generalizes enough. So, oh shoot, hold on. In a couple of seconds here, my part is going to eject.
It's good you modeled something simple.
Yeah, something that I could do real quick. So, I'm going to wait just a second here until it's done its little cool down sequence for the nozzles that I don't get a string. But that Prusa file format that he was talking about, the OBJ or whatever it was,
3MF.
3MF.
Yeah.
That he's talking about saving slicer settings and all sorts of stuff in the model. And the problem with that is you're going to have an infinite variation on the slicer settings for printers, because no two printers are identical unless they're all like made identically. And everybody has a different kind of printer. Some people got CR10s, some people got Prusas, some people got Tronxys. So embedding those settings into the file seems like the wrong move to me. I could see putting in things that are more generalized, such as some kind of a quality setting, some kind of a setting that defines how rough a surface could be, that kind of thing. But I don't see it storing very specific printer-specific settings as working very well. Okay, so right now it's taking a picture, the final picture of the part, and now it's going to go through the ejection sequence. Let's see. There we are. And you can see how it's peeling it off the bed there. And the little back wall pusher is going to just make sure that it's fully up on top of that blade. There we are. And then it's going to go and reset and get ready for the next print. And we'll give it a second here to retract. So at this point, I got my print here. And if we look at the print has this kind of raft on it, which is a little bit different than kind of like your standard raft. So it comes off pretty easy. I was just able to pop it off there with my hand. But the raft itself is slightly tapered on one side. Let me see. Which side is it? Right there.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of a taper. There's a little bit of a taper on the edge here.
Yep.
Which basically allows it to be peeled off the bed easier. And we also kind of print on a kind of a grid structure so that it's got a little bit of that less surface area there for it to really pull off. But it's designed so that it can be controlled by you in the slicer settings. And then here's my part. So, with the exception of that string, it came out. It's got the nice little rounded corners. It's got my thing extruded in that weird direction. And the nice thing is now I could go and update this part and print it again, and I can just go and iterate through all my prototyping.
And you said, so the angle on the raft, is that was that a feature in Cura 15, or is that a modification you guys made to Cura?
Yeah, so that's part of the modifications that we've done. And that's the part of the reason that we haven't migrated to the latest version of Cura, because we're duplicating those changes there.
Okay. Hey, Sean. Let's see if he's listening. If you're talking, you're muted. Yeah, he might have ran off to do something quick. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Mike.
No, you're good.
Do you want to go back to your interface again?
Yeah, I can go back over there. So yeah, this is that part. I literally just printed out. And if I wanted to go and change like the orientation or tell it whether or not I wanted to have support material on or off, I could go and switch it up there. Let's see. What else do we have? So we already went over like defining a printer in our system. Let's see. What else? Oh, well, I do have a notification here now, which shows me my part completed. If I wanted to go and clear out like one of these notifications, I could just go and hit the little X on it. It goes away. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of features that are in the works that are going to be implemented down the road here a little ways. But the system itself is working, and it's basically, it would be good to get some folks on and actually using it to manage their printers.
Cool.
Yep, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, I know Sean was kind of touching on this a little bit as far as like, if I upload something that I want to be available to anyone and everyone, is there kind of like an open database that people can upload their parts with permissions for all to access?
So currently that is not the case. But that is one of the primary features that we're planning on implementing, which is kind of a public store of parts. And that would be happening here soon, because we want to make it so that people people can monetize their parts. And part of being able to monetize it is making them available for people to use in their assemblies or just to order.
Right.
So that is very much on the radar, and it's very much close to happening. We've done some development on it, but we're just not quite there yet.
Here's a question from Robbie Mac that was kind of worthwhile. I don't think it was necessarily directed at you, Mike, but you probably have a pretty good opinion on this one. If you want to produce consistently, is it advantageous to spend time tuning 10 machines? I believe he means 10 different machines or different configurations, nozzle sizes, whatever, to output the same print result? Or is it more efficient to slice one STO and get 10 identical printers? So you're talking from like a farm perspective.
Yeah, from a farm perspective, it is always easier to get duplicates of the same printer and to only have a couple of different variations, right? The more variations you have, the more tinkering you are going to have to do as an admin. If you want to limit that, just get identical printers, maybe have a large and a small variety, and just use them to print out all your stuff. And then just kind of know that these are the limits of those machines, because you can get to the point where you know fully what those limits are, and you can output consistent product.
All right, guys, I'm going to take over for Matt for a minute. Oops.
Thanks, Sean.
He's got to go do something real quick. So, Matt, is there any last words?
Go for it.
Okay.
John has a question in the chat, Sean.
Okay, so John wants to know, Mike, what do the printers have heat beds? Are the beds heated?
The current printers that we're selling on the website right now are designed for PLA and do not have heated beds. Okay. However, we would like to offer a variation on the printers that do have a heated bed. And if somebody wanted to order one, we could potentially do that for them.
Now, is there a comment section where they can, say, hey, I want a heated bed in there, and then you would send them an invoice or something like that?
It would be best just to give us a call or send us an email, and we would talk to you on it, make sure that we knew what all the requirements were.
Okay. Cool. But the program does work if you do have a heated bed.
Oh yeah, the software it's all standard kind of stuff, right? Having a heated bed, if you had a Prusa or something, you had a heated bed with glass, and you wanted to use the print head to knock things off, you could potentially do that. But
let's see, where were we at? You guys have any questions for Mike? Questions.
I'd like to have somebody from over there print something on one of these machines.
Oh, is there a link we can put up to have them do that?
So here's the deal, right? I would have to add you to the organization. So if you signed up as a user on the service, and you gave me your username, I can add you to the org which has these printers, and you could print something. I don't have them set up as public right now because I would probably end up with a giant pile of things. Yeah, if you wanted to go and sign up on the system and shoot me your username, and we could do a screen share from your end, you uploading and sending it, and then pan over to here and see a machine start up.
Hey guys, did you hear that? You can have something printed. All right, so I'm going to try to post the link here to your website so they can sign up.
Yeah, it's Autodrop3d.com, and you're going to hit the cloud login link up at the top.
Is that? I think that's it.
Do you have like a menacing looking benchy and a big Autodrop3d logo?
That would be cool. Do not. Let's see. Was
Yeah, so it's Autodrop3d.com.
Yep, and I just posted the link so you guys can go there and sign up. If you want to have something printed, reach out and we will do a live printing over the air.
Now, yeah, please let's upload small stuff.
Oh yeah, something small, nothing phallic.
Yeah.
Respectable things. A pocket watch, a Lego.
Yeah, a Lego would be perfect, right?
Right.
No, it wouldn't be a Lego because that's trademarked.
Right.
It could be like some
watch.
mega brick type product.
Yes.
See, I remember Mega Blocks were so terrible.
Oh gosh, they were horrible. Mega Blocks were the worst.
But they worked with Legos. You could actually assemble them together.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, the thing is with Mega Blocks is the tolerances weren't there and everything was rounded. There was a chamfer on everything. Or it didn't look it wasn't as rigid and the plastic was different, I think. I think they use a different injection molding plastic than Lego did.
Okay. Do we have any usernames that have come through?
Let's see. I am not seeing anybody. Is anybody want to print something? Any usernames that Mike can add so you can print on his printer? Hello, JT. Welcome. Thank you for joining us from down under.
I don't think I've had anybody print from Australia yet. We've had somebody print from Hawaii. We had somebody print from places in Europe. I don't know exactly where. But yeah, nothing from the land down under yet.
Oh, JT. JT, do you want to print something in the U.S. from Australia?
So yeah.
You're asking too many questions about what you can print. Just send something.
Dice, Legos, Mega Blocks. I don't know. Just nothing that's shaped like a phallic thing.
Yeah. No phallicies. All right, RC Maniac 25 says, "Let me try." Oh, JT said sure. From Australia. JT from Australia.
Okay. So once you've signed into the system, after creating a username, I just need the username so that I can add it to my org.
Okay, RC Maniac's making an account. JT, I posted a link. I will post it again right here to Autodrop. And if you are wanting to print something on his cluster, then make an account and he will add you. RC Maniac says it's not letting me. Loading graphic won't go away.
Just hit refresh. Oh, wait a second. Was this on uploading a part?
I don't know. He did not specify. Is this upload? Oops. English. Uploading a part. Does it work on Firefox?
It should. I've tested most of the functionality on Firefox. I don't know whether I've tested everything on there, but I mean, you should be able to upload and print. Are you signed in? Oh, okay. Whoa. Holy cow, that's a long username, but that's okay. Okay, if you want to go and switch actually back over to my screen, I'm going to show the process of adding this user to the system.
Oh, I cannot switch over. Matt has that capability.
Ah, dang it!
And Matt is disposed right now. Disposed.
Okay, well, I'll go and I'll add him anyway right now. Let's see. Add user to org. User not found. Do you have anything weird, uppercase, lowercase, in your username there? Bomb down under diggity.
I'm down under diggity. Down under riggity.
Yeah. Do you have anything? It like is.
JT, is that really your username? I feel like that's not your username.
Oh, is it streaming? It's screaming at my screen again. Okay. You know what? Let's just for the heck of it. If you go to the Explore section, like if you're logged into the system, if you go over on the left-hand side, there's an Explore section. If you click that link and you go to locations, I'm going to make the location public, but I'm going to turn on all moderation. So you know what? Public, moderate, save. Okay, there we are. You'll be good. Everybody should be able to go and hop on and potentially request a part. So the way you're going to do that is once you've uploaded a part, just by either choosing a file or designing it in the system, once you have it uploaded, you're going to have a screen like this. You can tell it whether or not you want support material on or off. When you make any changes here to like the orientation or anything like that, make sure you hit save. And then you can go ahead and hit create order, and you should see ERRF in the drop down there, and you can hit create order, and it'll come in and it'll say pending. So I'm going to look at the queue and see whether I have anything pending besides my own stuff.
Oh, JT says that wasn't his username.
Okay, so as soon as he creates an order, I will see it on my end and I can approve it.
Okay.
So this is kind of an example of like the configuration you would run if you were running a public library, right? Because you don't want people printing off really weird things at the public library.
Right.
If you were running a more industrial scale kind of a print farm where you don't have like kids walking around and stuff like that, you could potentially just run it all without moderation.
So you made this public, right? So anybody can come in now and send something.
Anybody could send something. Will it print? Only if I hit yes.
Gotcha.
So if it looks valid, it's not going to print.
Yes, if I see that, I will not approve it. However, I will have your username.
We will publicly shake it.
Okay, I haven't seen anything come through yet.
I'm trying to find something.
Okay, so JT said that he made a username. Obviously, I don't know if you need it now or not. And RC Maniac also made a username as well.
Okay, so if you you know what, if you click up on the Autodrop logo at the top corner, it should bring you straight into the parts page, and you can upload stuff. Yeah, there's a little thing, like I think you have to hit like refresh or something after the first time you log in just to make sure you got everything, you know?
I say, yeah, let me in, no problem.
Okay, JT just said he uploaded a phallic object.
Oh, let me go to the queue and look at the jobs. I do not see a job pending for that yet.
He
You have
said
to-
it is a PLA glue stick.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
caught in the family-friendly filter.
Okay, so what you're going to do is on the part page, under the details tab, there's a create order button. And it's going to show you one dot on the map that you have access to. Go ahead and hit create order, and I'll see it on my end. And I'm refreshing. Waiting for a chapstick thing.
Glue stick.
Glue stick. Is he going to go and submit it?
RC Maniac says, I can't see any organization.
Oh, in the top? Just hit refresh on the page.
I can find one.
Yeah, so
Okay, so he clicks auto drop, correct? The auto drop logo. And then
Yeah.
after he clicks the auto drop logo, he clicks parts.
well, it should just bring you straight into the parts page.
Oh, it brings you into the parts page.
Yeah. And once you have a part, right? So you got your part uploaded. Do you have like a page that looks kind of like this?
Robbie Matt, I am evil, Robbie Matt.
I just love
Okay.
this response.
Okay, so are you guys at the parts stage? Do you see the parts details window?
Ah. Somebody uploaded something.
Oh, man.
You put the idea in their head.
Ah.
I'm not sure how big. the
JT says, I cannot see the part I uploaded.
Is there?
I deleted it.
What?
Oh, which one? Which one? Who was that who said that?
JT from Australia.
JT. So it's in his parts list, right?
RC Maniac says done.
Okay. Let's go and look at the queue. Oh, we have a pending box. Little cube thing. So I will go and approve that. And now, theoretically, that should be on a machine. And actually, it's printing out on the row stock, so I got to go to the other room.
Ron, did you send one also?
Yeah, so here, actually, if you switch over to my camera, the row stock is ejecting right now, clearing the bed. There we are. It takes a little while for the bed to move, so we can actually see it's pulling the bed back.
Oh, and you're using a linear actuator to do that.
Oh yeah, no, we make sure the part is removed.
Yeah.
The part does not stay on the bed. It gets off the bed.
My file.
We actually, when we first built the system, when we started using the the linear actuators and all that, we were printing straight onto the acrylic. Hold on a second here. Yeah, we were printing straight onto the acrylic. And when you print straight onto the acrylic, you'll find that stuff sticks to it and will stick forever.
Yeah, I tried that as a print surface at one point.
I mean, it works.
Yeah, a little too well though.
But with the linear actuator, we can print on that, and it'll actually stay, or
Now,
it'll peel off.
Do you know which model is printing on that printer right now?
Yes. So if I look at the Q, that is the cube that RC Maniac 25 uploaded.
Oh, okay. So we're missing JT's upload then.
Yeah, I did he go? So when you've uploaded something, right, you get a page like this. Hold on. Yeah, switch over to my screen.
Yep, got it.
If you click on parts over here, you should see a listing of all the parts you've uploaded. And if you click on one of those parts, right, it should bring up a screen kind of like this, which you can then hit create order, pick the location, and create the order. So I don't know what's going on. Did he submit the order? JT. Yeah. Okay. So what is that? That's something that's okay. So that's, since it's 120 millimeters tall, that will not print on these little guys behind me, but it will print on the big one in the other room. So if I go and I hit approve there, now it's gonna print when that machine becomes available. So yeah, that's how that works. How easy has it been for you guys to get your parts into the system once you got your accounts and all that?
The upload screen did sit with the loading screen. I had to refresh, kind of just guess. It was a 7 meg file.
Oh, but what was the actual dimensions on it? Because it does do a slice on it on the first time you upload.
Oh, maybe that's what was taking it. It's small, maybe 25 by 25.
Okay. Did you submit the file to the queue yet?
I didn't. I deleted it because it wasn't the one I intended to upload.
Oh.
I'm trying to find the 3D scan of my head. That's what I was going to upload.
A 3D scan of your head?
Yeah, I did one years ago with an Xbox Kinect, just sitting here in my office chair, rotating it around my head by hand.
Okay.
And I have that somewhere. I have no idea where. I have a full body scan that was done at Earth.
Yeah, I would just be careful about uploading something that's going to be ginormous, right?
Right.
Like you should probably scale it and maybe do something in 3D Builder to reduce the polygon count if it's going to be really big.
What do you have provisions within the software to resize once it's uploaded?
I do, but it does that initial slice, so it takes a while.
Right. I can try it, see how it handles it.
Yeah, well, you're going to probably take down the server, but that's okay.
Oh, okay, then I won't do that.
So the server system is set up to go into an auto scale cluster, but currently we only have like one node on that cluster. So
Okay, so I'm at the. I just made an account, so I clicked the Autodrop3d logo.
Can you show your screen? Let's have him show his screen.
Can you show my screen?
It says share screen.
Is my screen shared?
Not yet, no.
So Google,
I have to click share screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to click the button, and then it's going to ask you which screen you want.
Okay. Is it going?
It didn't yet. Here, we can all watch Sean fumble with the share screen button. Did you get like a permissions pop up or anything? Like when you click share screen, it should pop up share screen sharing tips.
Yeah, and then I clicked. Oh, wait, hold on.
You hit share screen, and then another one pops up if you have multiple.
Okay.
Buttons.
Oh, there. Okay, that was my fault. Cool. That should work, maybe.
Yep.
Whoa! There we are.
Go for it, Sean.
Cool. All right. So, Autodrop3d logo.
Yeah. Okay. So you're on the part upload page now.
All right. Oh, it's redoing it. What? Okay.
Yeah. Give it a second to finish doing its business. Should be done here soon.
And then I click dashboard.
Well, do you want to just upload a part?
Yes.
So just go up there to choose file.
Oh, so I'm already connected to you then.
Yeah, you're already there.
Oh, okay. Let me stop sharing my screen real quick.
Is it only people with beards on the stream today?
I think
Oh,
so.
no.
That's a common theme.
Kind of fuzzy on that.
What are you doing, Sean?
He's looking through all of his models of phallic-shaped things for
That's
something
all
that he can print.
models I have. I got to make a living somehow.
I'm quite apparently upsetting my computer. I don't know what its deal is.
Why is your machine getting upset here?
Okay.
I have no idea what it's doing.
It should be uploaded.
Okay. Can you want to share your screen back again or no?
Say what?
You want to show your screen back again?
Yes, I can do that.
You might have to give me a second to be able to switch screens.
Okay. Here I is.
Okay. Let's see. When the thing comes up here. Uh-oh. Looks like Matt might have gotten locked up.
Uh-oh.
Looks like his whole thing is frozen.
I went into queue and I can see my queue.
You can see your thing in the queue? Let me go and check here. Oh, wait a second. So you're in the parts area, right?
I am parts doesn't show anything. Oh, my organization is me. Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. So in the parts area, once you've uploaded a part, shoot, there we are. There we can see it. Okay, so go to parts. Yeah, it doesn't look like you uploaded anything. So go to choose file.
Choose file.
Pick your thing.
Let me pick my thing. Oops, where is it? Boop, 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 boop. Let's do. I forgot what I did. I don't know what this is, but there you go.
Okay. And can we see it? Because it looks like I think we're switched back over to my screen.
Okay, it says stored.
Okay, go ahead and hit OK on that, and you should get a part window that shows up.
Okay.
Do you see like a thing where it says details and?
Yep, it shows the part. It says part properties, tags.
Does it look like it's in the correct orientation if you wanted to print it?
No, it is not.
Okay, so that's what those three orientation fields are for.
Okay. Oh, I see.
So you can enter in a number in there and hit save, and it'll update and rotate the model for you.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Cool. So that was saved.
Okay, and it's the thumbnail updated, and it looks like it's in the right orientation now.
Correct.
Okay, awesome. Now, up in the top left-hand corner, do you see where it says Create Order?
Yep.
Go ahead and hit that.
Okay.
It's going to show a map, and there's going to be one spot on it that you can send stuff to. So once you've got that selected, go ahead and hit Create Order.
Okay, I click that, create order.
And it should show you up with like an order screen, which shows, yeah. So let me go into the queue and see. Okay, so that is going to be also large, and I don't know what it is. Some kind of a thing?
It's a climbing hold that I do.
Oh, okay. So I will go ahead and approve that. And now that'll print when the larger printer becomes available.
Cool. You don't have to print it. I just wanted to try and see. Awesome.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy to go and upload your parts in. You can also revision history your parts in the system. So this is kind of nifty, right? If I go into a part, like let's just say I uploaded this benchy, right?
Right.
I can go ahead and hit revise on this, and it keeps a full rev history of everything here.
Interesting.
So I could go and orient this differently. Or I could replace the STL file for it with a newer version of it. And it would provide me... basically, your original version is still kept around, and you could print that out if you wanted to. Yeah, give it a second. It's slicing here.
I'm coming back in a minute. I killed my computer.
Oh yeah, it seemed like you're having a little technical difficulties there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. My phone died. The computer died. Like everything's just dead.
Well, I'm really glad that the whole stream didn't die. Okay, so
That
see,
is one plus.
So there we are. I've saved, and I have this revision of the model now, right? I could go and I could create an order for this revision or the other revision, and they're both still there. They both exist at the same time. So being able to manage that kind of capability, that kind of granular detail on your models is nice. Now, is there, I'm actually kind of looking for some help here. Is there anybody out there who does Fusion 360 plugins? Who has any experience with that kind of thing?
Like making plugins?
Like making plugins for something like Fusion 360. I know that they have two versions of the plugin software that you can write. You can write JavaScript stuff, and you can write Python. And I'm looking to hook up with somebody who does some of that kind of stuff.
Okay. If anybody has that skill set, get in contact with Mike. Sounds like something pretty exciting.
Yeah. Right now, I have the capability of doing some stuff for integrations into some of the higher end CAD packages that I've used. But unfortunately, some of these other CAD packages, I haven't really messed around a lot with them. So I'm not up on how to do all the scripting in them.
I know nothing about it, so
Yeah, that's above my level.
if I could help, I would.
But the idea would be is that you could go and you could upload your STL directly out of either Fusion or maybe some of these other kinds of platforms.
I'm not going to attempt to upload another file because
Did
It
you?
wasn't
Did you?
anything on your end. My computer just like completely froze up. I have no idea what its
Uh,
deal was.
well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
If I go back into the queue, actually, let's see whether anything else got uploaded. No, I don't see anything else in there.
nobody else wanted to challenge the system, huh?
It doesn't seem that way. Yeah.
All right, I gotta try again. And I almost had the file I was looking for too. Darn it.
Okay, you gonna screen share while you break your computer or by uploading something?
All right, let's keep talking and let me find the file again.
Yeah.
I'm looking across 3 different computers to find the file I'm looking for. Um, Sean, did you ask my question earlier?
I did not, because we got into trying to get people to upload from Australia and Egypt and Mars.
Yeah, the problem with the Australian model is that it's going to print out upside down.
Yeah. Now, what I had texted Sean to ask was, so we've seen kind of what Autodrop can do. Um, what kind of things do you guys have planned for in the future? Like, what's on your wish list of things?
So things that are on the wish list is doing some integration into different existing CAD packages. So that's what I was alluding to with doing plugins for Fusion. Because I want to go and attempt to get a plugin for Fusion done and a plugin for what's the other one there? Onshape. I want to get one done for that. So that there's some direct paths into the system so you don't have to export an STL file.
Okay.
Besides that, stuff that's on the radar that's going to be happening is the public library of parts, which can be monetized or not by the user. So that is going to be happening. And something else that's kind of on the radar is better assembly functionality, in that you'll be able to arrange your assembly parts so you can make it look like the actual thing you're trying to build, and that'll make it so that it's easier to design stuff.
Cool.
And then laser cutters. Laser cutters are on the horizon. That's something that's fast approaching, because that's going to be the easiest of the CNC machines to support right off the bat.
Okay. Dude, what is my computer's problem?
I mean, are you running Windows?
Yeah, I think Windows is what's fouling it up because
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So something I want to emphasize about this entire system, right? This whole Autodrop system, it is running entirely in the web browser. If you're looking at my computer screen and you think it looks a little bit weird, that's because I'm running a Chromebook.
Oh, cool.
I'm not even running a real computer. I'm running a Chromebook.
You know what? I didn't even take notice to the fact that was the Chrome taskbar down at the bottom the whole time.
Yeah, it's but I'm able to do everything I need to do as far as 3D printing using nothing but a web browser.
That's really neat. Yeah, actually, to be honest, so today when I set up my account and was poking around with it, that was all on my Android phone.
Oh, yeah. We have people who do use it from their Android phones. I've done some effort into making it a bit user-friendly for touch interfaces. I'm not going to say... yeah, you want to switch back over from my screen? There we are. Yeah, so I'm not going to say that it's 100% touch-friendly, but that has been one of the main interfaces we've been testing on. So, there's some stuff that's still a little janky to use on mobile. Like, obviously, you can't use the CAD on mobile.
Right.
It's not fun. But most of the other kind of functionality, especially for the admin functions, we've definitely made those accessible on cell phones.
Yeah, it's navigating around on Android. I mean, it seemed decent. I didn't get to poke around with it too much that way, but everything seemed to be working for me.
Yeah, the G-code viewer is a little bit weird when you pull it up on mobile, just because it's the 3D, and then I think the model viewer is a little bit weird, just because of the touch controls.
Right.
But that's all just kind of polishing the edges and making it easier to use. You can also change your theme. So if you click on your little user icon up in the top right-hand corner of the website, and you hit toggle theme, you can put it maybe onto a theme that's a little bit easier on the eyes, depending on whether you like the light or the dark.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so now I couldn't find the file I was looking for, but let's do a screen share from my end. So let's do this one. Share.
Yep, that's my screen.
Yeah, that's okay.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, pretty Windows default background. Okay,
Boom.
so here's Autodrop.
Yeah.
Choose file. Actually, you know what? Let's go at this. So I can't see that part of the screen. So
Are you trying to drag and drop in there?
No.
Yeah, if you might have to refresh the page after you've done that theme update.
Actually, it seems to be responsive doing that. Toggle.
Yeah, the table doesn't exactly do it right every time. So.
Oh. So refresh. No, there's nothing
Yeah.
on the table yet. Okay, so choose file. Let's go here. Documents, 3D prints.
So this is really why it's easy for like a school to go and use this kind of a thing, because it's really easy to deploy a URL to students. It's much harder to go and try to install Cura on 30 machines and then give them SD cards and hope they don't walk home with them. Okay, give it a little bit of time. It's going to think while it's slicing that on the server side. We might do something to make this asynchronous in the future, where it'll take a little bit less time to upload and then do some slicing in the background.
Yeah, something like even just like a progress bar showing you, that it is uploading or processing or whatever would be kind of nice.
Yeah. But once it's done, how big was this file?
I'm going to check right now. It is 1.462 or 1.462 megabyte.
What's the actual physical size?
Oh, good question.
Because it's not so much the polygons that matter. It's actually the actual physical size, like how much slicing has to happen.
It is about 150.
Okay.
Whoa, 150 by about 250. Holy crap! I didn't think it was.
Yeah, that's not going to fit on any of my machines right now.
I have big printers. I don't have small files. All right, let's take it into 3D Builder and scale it down.
If you scale it down to being less than 70 millimeters by 70 millimeters by 100 millimeters, it'll print out on one of the tiny machines, which is sitting idle.
You know what? I don't use 3D Builder enough.
Down at the bottom, if you look at that little toolbar, it's the third icon. Yep, that one. And if you change one of the hit Control Z. Hit that little lock, and then change the value there. You can just double click on the value and change it to like 100.
I'll tell you what. Let's make it go even faster.
Boom! Tiny little head.
All right.
And then the little bars up at the top, you can do the export to the left. Save as. And then STL.
3D Builder wants to do 3 MF files.
Yeah, that's been the default in 3D Builder for the past couple of years now. Like, it's going to complain about how you're going to lose so much detail by doing an STL.
Oh, it's all right. It's only 50 millimeters tall. Shouldn't matter.
Yeah, if you just hit refresh there, it'll let you do it. Go ahead and choose file.
Dota 2.
What's that? What was that, Sean?
I said Dota 2.
Yeah, I had to.
Still play
I don't
Dota?
think I've even actually played it, to be honest.
Oh, there we are. It's uploaded.
Hey, there we go. Okay. Now, I want to. Oh, you know what? You're gonna hate me for this because that model's not laying flat either.
Well, that just means you'll get some support material.
Okay, so we'll do supports. All right. Hey, there
Yep.
is a load STL.
Yep. So you can go ahead and just hit create order, and it'll go straight to the queue.
I'm missing. Where's create order at?
Right above the thumbnail.
Oh, jeez.
I should make that button bigger. So now it's pending. If we switch over, actually, so you know what's nice? I added you to my org, so you can approve the model yourself.
All right, so I'm going to select it.
Oh, cancel that. So if you click the little icon or the thumbnail of it, that'll bring up the properties dialog for it. Yeah, go ahead and print failed restart. That's fine. That's just going to approve it. Yeah. Oh, no, I added you as a user. Haha. Let me give you admin powers.
Yay.
Hold on.
So I'll probably have to refresh.
No, you won't. Go ahead and do it again. Approve. Or yep. There.
Approved.
Yeah, so that's admin powers.
Yay. Who said
So-
that one model? I can approve it now.
Okay, so actually, that is about to print out on this machine up here. So it's clearing the build plate, and it's actually going to start printing out your little thing.
Neat.
Um,
I have a 3D printed head of my brother.
Now, what should I do with this thing? Should I, like, set up a shrine for it in a corner for the mice?
When it's finished printing, you got to post a picture of it to Twitter and tag Jay Flinchball.
Okay, I'll have you, if you could, send me the name in the instant messenger someplace, so I can do that later.
Yep, I can do that. He'll think that's funny. So, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about Autodrop?
Yeah, I think we've touched on most of the stuff. I mean, we're constantly adding features and stuff, so it's gonna be getting better as time goes on. And the fact that people can hook up their own personal printers into the system and start making money off of them, that's something that we really want to support, and we really want to help people facilitate running a 3D printing business, even if they only have one printer.
Yeah, I think it's neat, the whole layout that you've got. I mean, I can see a lot of places, a lot of schools being able to make use of this. Are there any limitations on the types of printers? I mean, basically, you just, as long as you can drive it with a Raspberry Pi, or like, I'm thinking one of the problems I've always had is my FlashForge Dreamer has their 32-bit board in it and doesn't really care for driving it with like Octoprint and things like that.
So I mean, we all of the printers that we use right now are running 32-bit boards. And they use kind of standard Marlin or RepRap firmware variants. I'm not familiar with that particular printer that you were talking about.
Okay.
But if it accepts normal G code over a serial interface, we could definitely print to it. If not, and you had some other hacky way of sending the G code to it, it is possible to do that in our software.
Okay. That's what is it? X3G files is what that runs off of. It's in all honesty, when you pull it open and look at it, it's basically standard G code. Supposedly, that printer couldn't print with anything but Simplify 3D or Flash Print. Now, interestingly enough, I had it working with Prusa Slicer when it was still Slick 3R.
And how were you delivering the G code to the machine? Were you doing it over the USB serial? Oh, SD card. Yeah. So, I mean, unless it has a serial or a USB interface for it,
which it does. But just in general, like as far as printers that are kind of the question of what printers can people utilize it with, or might be a shorter list of what they can't.
Yeah. So anything that's weird, no. Anything that's like standards kind of compliant. So, it runs either Marlin or Repetier or, like if you have like a Duet Wi-Fi board in there, those should all work. Most of the Chinese printers, just the cheap Chinese printers, they'll hook up no problem. I think the Ultimakers will work because they have standard kind of Marlin stuff, I think.
Okay.
The Rostox from CME-CNC, I know they work because that's what we're using for our bigger machines. Most of the Monoprice stuff, I think, works right out of the box. And we've tested it with like ANETs. We've done it on some of the Folger Tech kinds. It works on pretty much whatever we've been able to throw at it right now.
Awesome.
If you do have an SLA machine,
oh yeah,
I would be
come up in the chat earlier.
I would be interested in talking to somebody who has an SLA machine and who would like to do some beta testing on the client software for an SLA, because that's going to be significantly different than the client software for like a G code kind of machine here.
Sean, you can shoot this down if it isn't allowed, but Sean actually works for Pio Poly, and has the Phenom sitting behind him if he had his camera on.
Hey, Sean.
I do. I have a Phenom and a Moai. I don't know if I can dedicate time to do that is the problem. Because I'm constantly printing for work. But let's talk and see if we can do something.
Let's say you get some technically advanced users like Chris.
Because there's a whole bunch of different types of SLA. There's regular SLA with a laser. There's MSLA, with its masked LCD and LED arrays, and then there's a lot more. So each one, there's DLP. DLP uses a projector. So there's a whole bunch of different styles, and then there's a whole bunch of different technology and different slicing software used with all these different machines. So it just really depends. It's going to be. I'm not saying it's not impossible. Nothing's impossible, but you're going to have to be sure you can support all those different slicing softwares.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna have to be a little bit of a slow start where we work through one and then whatever. It'll be probably going by the most popular, right? So we'll just work through what are the most popular types of these machines and then write the software to support them first. and then expand out from there if the other ones look advantageous.
Right. But yeah, let's talk and see if maybe we can find people. I know a lot of people who have SLA machines, so
Yeah, because that would definitely be fun. I'd love to get some of them onto the network, because that would be like where you go and you say, I want perfect quality.
it's not perfect, but it's nothing's perfect. People always want more and more and more, and not happy with what they have. So that's just the way things are.
Yeah.
Cool. If there's any more questions from the chat for Mike about Autodrop3d, get them in the chat now. I think we'll probably end up wrapping the stream up here shortly. I was playing, I don't know if you guys saw as we were talking, had my screen back up here. All right, I keep wanting to click on it on the stream. It doesn't work that way. So this is the interface as my print's going on Mike's printers. Gives you an update. You don't see too much because the print head's in the way. Then it's a small enough print that you probably won't see much anyhow.
Yeah, so you'll notice actually down there at the bottom where it says log. So if for some reason the print failed or something like that, and you went and you did you reported that it failed, all that kind of stuff shows up in that log. So it tells you every time something weird has happened with it. So that's really good for like tracking and trying to figure out what happened or what went wrong.
Cool. Now, when Mike wakes up in the morning, he's going to have a whole bunch of my brother's heads printed out on his printers.
Oh, how many did you submit?
I didn't say I'd submitted anything more than the one so far.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to get going.
Yep. Yeah, I think I'm not seeing anything more from the chat. If you guys do have questions for Mike, if you're rewatching the stream later and you come up with more questions, Mike, what's a good way for people to reach out to Autodrop and get questions answered? Maybe even get to play around with Autodrop a little bit.
Yeah, so if you go to the Autodrop3d.com website, there's a little chat icon down at the bottom corner. If you start a chat, please type in your email address into the chat window so that I can get back to you if I'm not available there immediately.
Okay.
Besides that, we have at Autodrop3d on Twitter, and yeah, that's about it.
All right. Any last comments for anybody about Autodrop at all? Nothing else? All right. Sean, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you, follow you, annoy you, whatever.
Hi everybody, my name's Sean. You can find me on most social media platforms at Art Mods or Art Mods Official. That's my personal stuff where you can find all the stuff I'm working on. And then you can find me on YouTube at Seananigans. And I am doing some cool stuff there. I got a lot of things planned for the future. We're shooting a short film with some community members. And we're going to be doing a lot of 3D printing for the screen for film and television. So we'll be showing how to make props and costumes and all that with 3D printing and mixed media, fabrics, whole bunch of stuff. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Okay. Thanks, Sean. Thanks for co-hosting tonight and taking over there for a little bit. And of course, that brings it back to me. I'm Matt from How I Do It on YouTube. I am actually working on editing a video to go up there for the project I did with my fire company and bringing the superheroes to our open house. Showed a little clip of that 2 weeks ago on the show and tell. Working on editing that video together. That will be on the How I Do It channel. And hopefully here next couple of weeks time will free up a little bit. I'll be able to focus a little bit more on projects and getting some content out there. But I constantly post things on Twitter, Facebook. Twitter, it's at Country Cowboy. Facebook is just Matthew Flinchball. And as far as the Friday night 3D printing community hangouts go, the next stream will be on Saturday, November 22nd. That will be a show and tell show. So if you have a project, product, or a technique that's 3D printed related, even if 3D printing is not part of the final item, if you use 3D printing somewhere along the lines of building a project, we want to see what you built and how you utilize 3D printing. You can sign up right now. The website's down. I need to get that back up and running. But right now, go to Facebook, search Friday 3D Printing Community Hangout on Facebook and send us a message, or send us a direct message on Twitter at F3DPCH. And once the website's back up and running, there's actually a form on there. F3DPCH.com/show and tell will take you right to the form when the website's working. Hopefully, I'll have that all worked out here in the next week or so. But that will be November 22nd at 10 p.m. Eastern. We do have daylight savings is going to change the time for those of you who do not observe daylight saving. The next guest stream will be Friday. I lost my calendar. My computer is not cooperating at all tonight.
Oh no!
December 6th will be the next guest stream, and I'm looking at getting Bill Steele, the creator of the 3D Chameleon multi-color, multi-filament changing system, alternative to the Prusa MMU and the Mosaic palette. Looking at getting him on. If anybody has somebody they would like to see, whether it's a creator, product, whatever the case may be, or somebody who specializes in a certain category of 3D printing, if there's people you'd like to see on the streams and be able to ask questions of, let us know. Again, same ways that you can let me know about signing up for the show and tell. We're always looking for new ideas, new guests. And of course, if you would like to be a panelist or co-host on the stream, you can send me a message. As I post who's going to be on, it's typically first come, first serve, unless I have a specific group of people that are more specialized in a category, or more, like in this case tonight, more technical, things like that. I'll try to curate it a little bit more, but otherwise it's typically first come, first serve. And we can have, I believe, 5 or 6 people on the stream at a time. So that's it for tonight. Like I said, if you have questions for Mike, get a hold of them on their website or on Twitter. Their website's Autodrop3d.com. Website or Twitter is at Autodrop3d. Send them a message or a tweet and ask whatever questions that you didn't get to ask tonight. Mike, thanks again for coming on. And again, thanks to Sean for co-hosting. Thank you to everybody in the chat who showed up tonight, asked questions. The chat was actually really engaged tonight with asking questions about Autodrop, and even some side chat that was going on there. So thank you again, everybody, from the Friday 3D Printing Community Hangout. Hope everybody has a good weekend, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Hey, yeah, thank you there, Matt.
Yep, thanks, Mike. All right.